Hello, my name is Periwinkle Deepforest, Sister Periwinkle Deepforest, and I would like to welcome you to Periwinkle's Corner. The purpose of this portion of the program is to discuss art and literature that has maybe a different focus than many of you might be used to. The GLBT community, the gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender community, is full of many skilled artists and people that have had different experiences in their lives, and they want to share that information with the world at large. And the point of this program is to bring some of that material to all of you and make sure that you're aware that it exists, that the GLBT community has a history of art and literature creation that benefits society. And so I'm going to be sharing with you sculpture and other aspects of art and literature, stories, essays, various different things that will convey to you some of the mindsets and the life experience of many of the GLBT community members. Because I think it's all very valuable, and I think that if you were to take all of the GLBT aspects out of the artistic community, there might not be very much of one left. So I like to highlight some of that material and share it with all of you. It has merit, and it has weight. It has provided all sorts of information for people. It's given them a new perspective, and that's what I like to do with the shows that I put out, is maybe give you something to learn from that you might not have had the experience to come in contact with on your own. So I think for today's episode I'm going to be reading 3 different short stories. Nope, 1 short story. And you will get a chance to see what some of the writers have out there and have shared with us. There is a statement about books by book lovers and people that hold them dear. The more beat up a book is, the more loved it has been, and the more people that have read it and enjoyed the material. The reason I say that is because this book is in very bad shape, but it has been well used and well loved, and that would be why it's in the condition it's in. Part of the program will be to talk about the different publications that we get the material from, and we will share the names of those with you at some point. And as we are doing showing you pieces of artwork, that will be displayed behind me, or displayed so that you can see it as I'm talking about it, and you'll have your own bird's eye view, as it were, and you'll be able to pick out the points that I talk about. Anyway, since we're going to look at writing materials today, the book that we're looking at for today is The Best American Gay Fiction of 1996. And I chose short material because we have just a little bit of time available. So, and now, I know you're watching me do this, and you're thinking, well, you know, she is a diva. Does she want to be seen with glasses? Well, time marches on, girls, and the abilities that we once held so dear tend to fade, including the ability to see properly without assistance. So I have to put my glasses on and try to look diva-esque anyway. So, if you want to be able to decipher what I have here, I have to be able to decipher what I have here. So I put these on my face so I can do that. Now, the first story that I'm going to share with you has been written by the author Jim Provenzano, and I'm hoping that I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but we haven't dated for a while, so I can't be sure I can remember what his name is. But the story is called Split Lip. You never forget the moment when you did something. You never forget how his skull would have looked had you owned a gun. You never forget the glint of joy in his eyes as the blood flowed from your lips. You are surprised at how the plainclothes police are oddly polite. They drive you around the neighborhood looking for their faces. You know they ducked into a straight bar or down the hole to the path train. The police won't follow up too hard. After all, you fought back. You got a few punches in. They like you for that. The surgeon at St. Vincent's, where you expected to be treated cruelly, is tall, Asian, handsome, and gay. He jabs your mouth with a needle full of anesthetic, covers your face with surgical paper, and sews into your lip. You remember an episode of MASH. You go to work on Monday, rationalizing that the reason you spent the entire weekend in bed was simply because you were tired. At your desk, you run your tongue over your stitches about 400 times. The plastic thread juts up from your skin. You remember little details in your nightmares. One had an earring. Another's sneakers were red. The third wore a Georgetown baseball cap. The dreams make you lose sleep. You snap at everyone at work. You even cause a guy to quit his job. His desk is cleared in a week. No one knows how much hate got into your veins. You try to be nice to your sort of boyfriend later that week. He holds you and strokes your head. He can't kiss you because your lip is still swollen. You can't enjoy sex the way you would prefer to, well, because for some reason it wouldn't work the way you're used to it working. They have succeeded in preventing you from making the soft form of male-to-male contact they so despise. 3 weeks later, your boyfriend starts canceling dates because you've been so negative these days. You go shopping for weapons with your straight cousin who lives in the Bronx and got shot on the subway. He gives you his nunchucks and suggests you buy a hunting knife. Switchblades are too tricky. Instead, you get mace and a whistle. Maybe you'll go back and get the knife. The nunchucks hang on a wall, becoming more decorative than functional. You walk by the bar where it happened. You see the sidewalk where your blood stains have been trampled away. You see the boys inside wearing video clips or watching video clips of Joan Rivers. They stand in their J. Crew slacks and Periwinkle sweater vests. You remember how they shriveled out of sight when the fighting started. How you shouted back, defending this bar and your right to stand in front of it. The look on the gay men's faces, stunned at the blood spattered over your Read My Lips t-shirt and black leather jacket, being suddenly embarrassed for looking like such a clone. Then, more angry at the simpering manager who gave you a paper towel. Your friend, when he asked to call the cops, was told to use the payphone outside. Looking around at the silent drinking men, you wonder what you thought was worth defending. In the morning, weeks later, while getting dressed, you think through your day's plans. Do I wear the Doc Martens for kicking back, or the Reeboks for running away? You walk the streets, wary of every corner. Your hands grip whatever pocket weapon you brought today. You see the crazy people on the street and now know how they got that way. You wonder how long it will take before you act like them. Wearing a whistle on a chain around your neck, you feel safe, sort of. Trying not to think that blowing a whistle might merely call attention to your beating, inviting not assistance, just an audience. You become extremely comfortable with your heterophobia. You learn to admire drag queens and prostitutes. You begin to travel exclusively in packs of large, muscular men. You break into tears for no apparent reason. You spend hundreds of dollars on cabs. You no longer have second thoughts about the execution of certain criminals. There's a lot of different material out there for us to be made aware of, and this was not necessarily a sweet piece of material, but the information that it conveys definitely communicates the fear and the frustration and the anger and the lack of help that we can expect to get. And if I don't believe that I choose not to believe that Mr. Provenzano has written this to frighten us even more than we already are. I choose to believe that he has written this as a record, an historical documentation of something horrible that happened maybe to someone in his life. And the reason I choose to read it is because we all operate under certain misconceptions and stereotypes in the GLBT community and outside of it as well. And those always affect how we perceive the people around us. Gay people are always, the stereotype is, we're always supposed to be silly and fun and the life of the party because we joke, we're the court gesture, we do all the silly things to make everyone laugh. Well, this story definitely does not do that. And I hope that in sharing it with you, I have not offended you or made you angry. But if I have, I would ask you to think, what will you do with that now? Thank you for visiting us for this episode. Material that we'll share in the future, I hope and I expect, will frequently be a lot more cheerful than this. But it's necessary. And people need to know what is happening out there. Not just to the GLBT community, but to anyone who feels marginalized and is attacked for any reason. So please keep that in mind as you go looking for material that might help to broaden your horizons or someone that you care about. Come back and join us again when you have the opportunity, and I promise we'll be just a little bit more cheerful in the future. Thank you. I had forgotten what that was about. I thought it was funny. I forgot all about it. Oh dear. Well, at least I didn't start crying. That would have been horrible.